Hello, everybody. So let me introduce me. I'm a French mathematician, as was said. French, probably you have ideas about what this means. Good food, great literature, cute girls. Of course, all that is true. And I believe that I need my crispy baguette, good cheese, raw milk to be happy in my daily life. But it is less known that France is also a great country for science, and in particular mathematics, and has been so for hundreds of years. As I was a high school student, shy, kind of nerdy, I went through this very elitist French system of preparatory classes and grandes écoles, inherited from Napoleon. I attended courses in École Normale Supérieure in Paris. It is the institution that claims the most Fields medalists among its former students, more than any other institution in the world. So last year, my name was added to the list, and that was it. When you receive such an award, of course you are full with joy, with pride, but also with a bit of terror. Like all of a sudden you become a spokesperson for your field, and you will meet many people who will like to hear you talk about what you do. So you meet everybody, you meet CEOs, you meet politicians, you meet kids in high schools, you meet musicians, you meet, okay, you go in the public newspapers, everybody sees you on the street. I even made my way to the fashion magazines. You know, these French people, they like fashion, okay. And so I met everybody from garbage man to president of republic, and all of them, they wanted me to talk about science and mathematicians. It may be a surprise for some people in the audience that there is a job called mathematician. What the hell is this? Do they exist? What do they do? Compute? No, mathematics is not about figures. It's a job, it's a damn good job. And in fact, when the very serious Wall Street Journal had the weird idea to rank all jobs in the world, guess what came first? Was it princess, or lawyer, or trader? No, my friends, it was mathematician. Well, I hate rankings, but well, when they are in the good direction, it's okay. Now, mathematicians, these people, they define as somebody who applies mathematical theories and formulas to teach or solve problems in a business, educational, or industrial climate. To some extent, this is fine. But these guys, they forgot what for me is the most important: to create mathematics, to invent mathematics, to discover new mathematics. And that's my job. The world is full of mathematical problems that are still not solved. Problems with numbers are the simplest to explain. There are problems about numbers that you can explain to an 8-year-old kid in a couple of minutes, and though the smartest mathematician in the world would not be able to solve them. My inspiration is not in numbers, it comes rather from physics, the world around us. It's so full of great problems. Whenever you boil water, this is a problem, a mathematical problem that nobody has solved yet. Think about, in this room, there is all the particles of gas going around, the speech that I am making, wave of sound, the heat going on. Close your eyes for a second maybe and try to imagine the complexity of the gas surrounding us with its billions of molecules going and bumping into each other, and exchanges of energy all around your body and around you, billions of molecules. This is crazy. The world is so difficult to understand. And still, it is a marvel that Einstein was very surprised of, for instance, that the world, in some sense, can be explained and studied thanks to mathematical formulas and physics. And this is our job, understanding the world with the help of mathematical formulas armed with only our logic. Here are some of the objects we work with. Take them as artistic objects if you want. Each of them, for a mathematician's eyes, stands for some feature, some natural feature. Here in blue, you have the equation of fluids, incompressible fluids, Euler equation. Here, the equation for gas. Here, the equation for plasmas, and so on. And the first one on top here, this is the Boltzmann equation. I made my PhD on this equation. When my advisor first wrote down the equation for me and told me, you know, okay, you will do this and this, And after a couple of years, when you start to master the equation, maybe you can do this. I thought, wait a minute. Am I going to spend 2 or 3 years of my life studying this one-line damn equation? Aren't there better things to do? And I did it, and I loved it. Not only did I do it, but I spent 10 years on the damn equation. And little by little, I appreciated how rich it is, what beauty there is in it, what complexity of natural phenomena are hidden. Many papers, many things I still don't understand about this equation, but some things I understood, and this is part of what awarded me the Fields Medal. Boltzmann was a great scientist. This equation is from 140 years ago. He understood a concept that is universal, deep, and associated with the equation, the concept of entropy. Entropy is associated with uncertainty, disorder. When we look at some system and we can make some experiments like feeling the pressure with our hand or something, it always involves a great number of particles, so we only have access to it in statistical sense, not the exact positions of all the molecules. So there is a great deal of uncertainty, and entropy captures this uncertainty, this disorder. Here is the formula of the entropy. S is K log W. This is me near the grave of Boltzmann in Vienna. I love this picture. It shows me like a hair of Boltzmann thinking about his ideas. You know, there is communion throughout the centuries. I work on the same problem as he. And this formula is magical. I swear, when I met the stranger in this huge cemetery and I asked him if he knew about Boltzmann's grave, the guy looked at me and said something like, S is K log W, like a secret password, you know, for those who know. So I love this picture. There is so much in it. The concept of entropy and uncertainty is everywhere and was rediscovered 80 years after Boltzmann by the great Shannon. Shannon, a mathematician and engineer, is the one who put the theory of communication, of transmission between computers, of coding. Whenever we use computers or cell phones or whatever, there is Shannon inside. There is entropy without us knowing it. And in all our inventions of daily life, there are some great minds who have contributed. Now, Boltzmann had this great idea that entropy always goes up, can only increase. Disorder should only increase under some circumstances. And that's a great idea, an idea that in physics is fundamental, but from the mathematical point of view still lacks a rigorous understanding. There are some mysteries in this Boltzmann idea. It would be like an architect who has given the plan, the global plan, but maybe in his building there are some columns missing, there are some windows not still there, and mathematicians want to understand it all and make the whole building stand armed with only his logic. And then it is such a rich problem that it decomposes in a number of sub-problems that have esoteric names, like regularization by grazing collisions, like entropy production inequality, whatever. You learn when you work on it to work on these problems, and it's very emotional. It's like a love affair in some sense. You get on one problem, and then, as I said, it's very emotional. When you arrive in a new problem, first thing is you are in total obscurity. Don't understand anything. What's going on? I can't understand. Like darkness everywhere. Like Bilbo the Hobbit in the Gollum cave, for those who know. Everywhere so dark. And then at some point you feel some tiny breeze of wind, something that shows you that there is an opening. You will see the light. That's the moment I prefer. Excitement. And third stage is you understand it all. Light comes, and it comes all of a sudden, and it's so bright, and you understand how the various mathematical concepts can be put together to solve your problem. This is a great moment, like if you put together pieces of a symphony. Believe it or not, the legendary mathematician André Weil from France compared it to sexual pleasure, orgasm, only lasting longer, he said. And to some extent, that is correct. And so you go and so excited, you tell the whole world about your discoveries. And then, after some time, you try to become bored, not excited any longer. It's time for a new mathematical romance. So I've been through it for a number of times, finding new problems, new affairs, and trying to solve them. Some of them I solve, some not. And that's my duty, to solve these problems and then to explain it. Mathematics is not just about solving things for yourself. Then it's about sharing. It's science, it's art, it's also social activity. Let me show for you, as an impressionistic picture something that was part of my life, a book which took years for me to write. And this is a book on optimal transport. It's a problem involving mathematics and engineering, probability and geometry, everything that was said. I will not try to describe it for you, even though it corresponds to things in your daily experience and started as an engineering problem. And on this, so I spent years literally trying to unsolve the mysteries that are behind this optimal transport problem. The book is about 1,000 pages. It was concluded exactly on the day of the 5th anniversary of my daughter, and it's also a baby of mine in some sense. So when you have this discovery, then you go and share and tell the people, and that's what I've done, going all around the world, meeting fellow scientists, regardless of boundaries and cultures, been through Europe and Africa and America, been in Israel and Palestine, been in India and China and Japan and Australia, everywhere. Everywhere you feel solidarity between scientists, all together fighting against the unknown, fighting to increase the knowledge and the understanding of the world by mankind. Always with their rigor, with tenacity, with hard work, but also with imagination and passion. That's it. Thank you.